Hey folks, it's me, Roger, back to normal. Cheers, VC. Thank you for all the nice comments and likes on my music videos, little piano thing, and my gig, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. I really expected to get those dislikes. Not yet. YouTube is so weird. But anyway, I'm not going to be making a habit of that. I wanted to work up that Debussy piece, kind of as a tribute to big star in the VC and the, And my friend Kevin had shot video of the gig, and so he shared that with me, and I thought I'd share it with you all. It was fun. Before we go any further, playing in the background is this, which I showed in my last little record collecting video. It's the Murray McNabb Group. Every Day is a Beautiful Day. On the New Zealand Sarang Bang label. But this is fantastic. CD only, but this is really, really, really gorgeous. I've been in touch with Gianmarco Liguori. The Duga 3 LP is sold out. Good for you folks for coming through. I'm going to leave a link to the label, and he said he's thinking of maybe repressing Duga 3. But anyway, do check out some of the other music on the label. It's really terrific. And Murray McNabb is an integral part of what makes that Duga 3 record really as great as it is. So, anyway, I've got a few records to show, not a lot. Try to keep this short. The gig went well. It was, tattoo parlor with a little stage and lights. And they actually had a little piece of Lucy's Record Shop, which is a famous Nashville venue that's gone. A bit of their stage was tacked to the proscenium, such as it was. If you were interested, you heard what I did, and so I was opening for two wonderful women, one of whom I met previously, and I picked up their two vinyl records that they're touring. The theme of the evening was solo instruments through stomp boxes. So I did my thing with guitar. Jessica Pavone played viola, plugged into stomp boxes, and she made a record on Tyga called Knuckle Under. Great cover. And so she played music from this recording. Interesting stuff. Sparse and minimal, and a little bit of singing. Really pretty unique. It was an honor to open for these amazing musicians. Jessica Pavone made a number of really great records with Mary Halvorson, where it's like this jazz chamber music with singing. They have this really plain but lovely singing voices that blend really well together, and they write these weird little songs, and those are great records. And Jessica Pavone's also played with Anthony Braxton, along with Mary Halvorson, and this is cool. The Tyga label is really, really great label. I have a few things on there. So check that out if you're interested. And then after Jessica played, this woman guitarist Ava Mendoza played a solo set based on music from this split LP she did with Sir Richard Bishop, who formerly the Sun City Girls. So this is a split LP. On the first side you have Sir Richard Bishop doing a solo guitar thing, which is really good, as you would expect. And then Ava Mendoza does a solo guitar thing, but with some singing, and it sounds like maybe even some overdubbing, like she overdubs her voice. It's really cool. And so she kind of did this suite live. It's really interesting. Really an honor to get to share the stage with these people. they're the real deal, and I'm just doing my thing over here. Anyway, that was cool. So, cheers. All right. I'm trying to rein it in. There's another record show coming up next month. I'm trying to save some money, but you know me, I can't just get to record stores altogether. And besides, one of my favorite bands puts out a new record, I have to go get it regardless. So yeah, the new Wilco Schmilco. This is indie record store pink vinyl, like bubblegum pink vinyl. What is there to say about this record? It just came out yesterday. I've only listened to it once. So my first impression is I like this way better than I liked Star Wars, which I actually listened to yesterday again, and I think that record sucks. I'm just going to be honest, I think that's half-baked nonsense. And this feels a little half-baked too, but there's actual songs here, which is an improvement. I don't know, Wilco, they remind me a lot of the Grateful Dead in a lot of ways, but in one way in particular, in that they're a wonderful live band. I haven't seen them in a number of years, but really wonderful live. On record, not so much. So, you know, my suggestion is they shouldn't be allowed to produce themselves. I remember Alex Ross, way back when A Ghost is Born. Alex Ross, he only writes about classical music in the New Yorker, but back then he would write about pop music, and he wrote about Wilco's A Ghost is Born, and compared them to Radiohead, and arguably that's the last really interesting record Wilco made. And I think Jim O'Rourke was involved with that, maybe. But these last couple records, they just sound like hanging out in the loft, cooking something up. And, you know, if there was maybe if Nigel Goodrich got his hands on this material, it could sound interesting. Instead, it just sort of sits there. I don't know. I love the band, but their records are... So why do I buy them? Fan, I'm a record collector, whatever. And, you know, maybe I'll grow to really love this record. Because, I mean, I liked it. I liked it in a way that I did not like Star Wars. For what it's worth, just my opinion. Hit the dislike, come on. Alright, here's some metal. This came out a little while ago, but somehow I missed out. But I think this is still a first press. It's the limited blue and white vinyl, Kvelertak. The name of the album is Natisford. I'm probably mispronouncing all of this. Norwegian. Black metal elements, but also just like flat out rock, you know, heavy rock, like big riffs, big choruses. I really, really like these guys, and they just get better and better. They like are able to combine, you know, the screaming and the blast beats and the intensity of, you know, black metal, and then they'll go into like, you know, this big like, you know, like 70s or like maybe new wave of British heavy metal, kind of like big rockin' riff, and I can't really describe it. It's a lot of fun. It's in a way that a lot of metal records are not fun. And he sings in Norwegian. All the titles are in Norwegian, so who knows, you know, what he's going on about, which kind of adds to the charm. The inner sleeve, all the lyrics are in Norwegian, but there's these little cryptic descriptions before each song in English, you know, like the dark god awakens from his slumber, you know, stuff like that. And so, you know, you get the idea of, you know, it's a metal record for sure, but boy, it's fun. Nice gatefold, nice Eric Roper cover. Yeah. Really enjoyed that a lot. This one I'm not so sure about. Andreas, Sonic Mainliner, hey man, if you're watching, showed this a little while ago, and it just kind of stuck in my brain, and I thought it was going to be black metal, and it's not. And I'm sure I misunderstood Andreas' description, but you know, given the name of the band, Black Breath, heavy breathing, the cover and stuff, you know, I thought, oh, okay, you know, some black metal. It's on Southern Lord. From 2010. I haven't looked up pressings and stuff, but it was cheap. It was like under $15. And I thought, what the hell? And so I put it on expecting black metal, and what it is like grindcore, like hardcore punk, hardcore, like bordering on Nails level intensity, like hard to take, honestly. But I'm going to hold on to it because, you know, now that I know what it is, there might be times when it's just a thing. I don't know. And Southern Lord, you know, I like that label. Alright, so here's a reissue. A really cool reissue that's been out for a while. I didn't know about it. I found this at the Groove in East Nashville. I was up in that part of town. Decided to stop in. My car wound up there. Sensations Fix. Sensations Fix. Fragments of Light. Originally from 1974, I believe, on RCA. Yeah. And this is a Superior Viaduct reissue from 2013. Yeah, a band I was vaguely familiar with, but big hit, you know, with the cool kids in the BC, and so when I saw this cheap reissue, in fact it was in the sale bin, it's like, oh, grabbed it. Oh my god, this is such a great record. I mean, no wonder. This is... So, Sensations Fix, Italian, prog, electronic, mostly instrumental as I recall. I think there's some singing on this Do You Love Me song. But I mean, the titles give the game away, right? You know, so Fragments of Light, Nuclear War in Your Brain, Music is Painting in the Air, Space Energy Age, you know, so yeah. Right up my alley, and I need more Sensations Fix. I need a fix of some Sensations Fix. And their records are not easy to find, particularly original Italian pressings, as you might imagine. Fantastic reissue though. It sounded really good. You know, Superior Viaduct, you know, they put out great stuff, you know, but they're really cagey about where, you know, the source is. And, you know, I'm not going to let audiophilia nervosa get in the way of enjoying this music, because it is really just great music. Alright. It's hot. I'm thirsty. Also found this at the Groove in East Nashville, and it's out of print, and moreover, it's the special pre-order, mail-order version of it. And paid a little bit for this, but I had to. Now, a lot of you folks know all about this record. Lewis is the name of the artist, and L'amour is the name of the record. This is Light in the Attic reissue. This one's on clear vinyl. Quickly, the story is, like a lot of Light in the Attic stuff, is you know, somebody finds this weird record like in a bin in Canada, and expecting it to be something horrible, and puts it on, and it's like, well, this is really interesting music, and it spreads in the underground, and it becomes a super desirable record. And, you know, this guy Lewis, total mystery man, he made this one record and disappeared. It turns out that's not exactly true, but as far as anyone could tell, in 1983, this guy buzzed into Hollywood, made this record, and like screwed the photographer, who went on to like take iconic punk pictures in Hollywood. Yeah, incredible story. And in fact, Light in the Attic finally found this guy. His name is what is it? Randall Wolf or something like that. And they said, oh, you know, here we reissued this, and here's some money, and he refused to take it. He said, oh, that's nice, but he's moved on, whatever. And so Light in the Attic decided, you know, when stock on hand sold out, they weren't going to repress it. So I think it's not available anymore, and particularly this version. And anyway, the music. first the cover, right? I mean, Anthony Camplone has been using this as his profile picture on Facebook for a long time, and so this image is totally imprinted in my brain. So it's quiet piano, whispery vocals, washes of synth, very quiet, very sedate, very like so hushed and barely there. It reminds me of like Talk's Laughing Stock and Mark Hollis's solo. I mean, it's that level of like, whoa. I mean, like, not just voices, but it is so it's really moving and affecting and like nothing I've ever heard. I mean, it doesn't sound like Talk, but it has that barely there kind of thing. Really excellent. Really, I can see why people are gaga over that, and I'm really happy to have a special copy of that. All right, that's it for new records. Although this had been open, but it looked barely played. So, all right. And just a few antiques, and they're not even that old, really, except for one. Grimey's got in Grimey's got in a big buy of like lots of punk and post-punk and metal and stuff, and like I said, I've been trying to cool it, but there were a couple things I couldn't leave behind, even though they're things I used to own and I really hate, but anyway. All right, so here's a record I used to own and sold it when the CD came out. Public Image, second edition. Yeah, metal box would be cool, although only as an artifact. Sonically, this sounds awesome. Yeah, what is there to say about this? John Lydon went on after the Sex Pistols to form Public Image, and first album, Flowers of Romance, really great record, but nothing like this. This has very dubby and ambient in parts, and I think John Lydon's greatest vocal performance. This is just classic, and I've had the CD forever, and I regretted selling it ever since, because I mean, come on. So that's nice to have back in the collection. I used to have the album that this track appears on, but having the 12 inch is pretty cool. Bauhaus, Bela Lugosi's Dead. Oh, from '79, I think, something like that. Their first single, and it's on a very first pressing, which would be on white vinyl. Small Wonder Records. Just on black vinyl. Yeah, classic post-punk, proto-electronic kind of. Again, very dubby. The title track, classic. All of you know that track. But yeah, very dubby, hypnotic, beautiful. The best thing they ever did, in my opinion. So that was a nice find. And finally, Wire, Document and Eyewitness on a Rough Trade from 1981. Cover's a little tatty, but the record's cleaned up nice. So this is the live album. There's an LP recorded in 1980, I think one of their last performances, and with a 12-inch 45 up from 79. Yeah, from Notre Dame Hall, and a track from Montreux, the track Heartbeat, one of their most famous songs. So anyway, so if you were to go back, so the EP is a more conventional Wire live set. Excellent. Sound quality is a little weird. Apparently, they tried to record it on an 8-track, but set it up wrong, so it's a little wonky, but not unlistenable by any means. And so then the LP is the Electric Ballroom in London from 1980. Apparently with like theatrical elements and an MC and actors and dancers, and hard to tell what's going on here, but I think it's freaking great. Some people, reviews called it unlistenable, disjointed, out of tune. It's almost all new material that wouldn't make it to a wire LP. Some of it was on solo records, and then later when they reformed. In some ways it's the sound of a band like falling apart. But again, no, there's an intention to it, to my ears, that makes it work. Particularly from hindsight, you know Thurston Moore digs the Electric Ballroom side on this. You hear Sonic Youth coming out of this, and also their later Wires. Those first 3 records, fantastic. So important. And so maybe this isn't for everybody, but I think this is fantastic, really great. Noisy, disjointed, dissonant, experimental. Love it. All right, last one. Vangelis, Heaven and Hell, from 1975 on RCA. I've been picking these up if I see them in nice condition. I really enjoyed that Boborg very, very much. This is not quite in the kind of electronic music that I like, that kind of progressive. It has its moments, I'm not going to get rid of it, and it's good for what it is, but it's so kind of bombastic and symphonic and grandiose and through composed. It's very tight-assed, and I prefer my electronic music more noodly and free, and that's not what this is at all. But John Anderson from Yes sings on a track, and there's this female soprano that it's very, very well executed, as you would imagine. Not totally to my taste. Now, Carm, if you're watching, hey man, was threatening in a comment to make a video about Vangelis. I don't know how to say his name. Apparently, very important artist to Carm, and I would very much appreciate, hearing how you relate to his music and what you think of it, and what records, are really important to you. Maybe you love this record, but tastes are weird, and maybe someday I'll put this on and go, oh, yeah, But I don't know. It's definitely moments. Like the opening side 2 was really nice and spacey. All right, Carm, I look forward to that video. That's it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Leave comments if you want. I always try to respond, even if it takes me a while sometimes. But cheers, everybody. Go check out Swing Bang Records. Take care, everybody. I will see you soon.